What is going on, guys? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and I'm back with the TGS coverage that I promised. So last night, or approximately 6 hours ago, there was a massive information blowout, considering TGS has just kicked off. So we're going to be diving essentially into everything. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of tabs here of things that I'm going to be discussing and talking about. So we're obviously going to start off with a step-by-step analysis of this trailer, and we're going to see all sorts of things that we can pick out, and then after the step-by-step breakdown, there's going to be a few other tidbits that I want to discuss and talk about. Don't worry, everything's going to be time-stamped, so if there's something specific you want to see, then feel free to just skip to a certain part or whatever. So without further ado, let's just dive right in. So if we go all the way back to the beginning here, my bad, you open up with a Capcom logo, of course, and I want to make note, as it slowly fades into focus, we see Morrison, the dude from the anime. And for those of you who don't know, he acted like Enzo. He was just a sort of middleman, bringing missions and whatnot to Dante. We can see this is the outside of the office here. The sign is off. It's offline. It's out. There's no light. There's no nothing, indicating that again Dante's been missing for quite a while. And he essentially hasn't been doing any work. So that's Morrison, you know, adjusting his hat. And we see the lights flicker here. So either the lights went out as they were speaking, and then they flickered back on, or maybe the lights were off completely, and they just, you know, Dante flipped the switch. But anywho, the office is in disrepair here, which, you know, if you've seen The Office before, you know, it's not anything special. Like, you might think, oh, it's in disrepair. You know, that sort of implies that things haven't been going so well, but The Office has always been like this. You could argue that even more so, it's been like this. Note that Spada is missing. That's usually where it's hung. It's no longer there anymore. And the phone begins to ring. Dante picks up, and he sighs, looks at Morrison as if Morrison, you know, sort of implied that somebody was going to call, and then all of a sudden the phone rings. Some spooky stuff, and then we get the title drop, DMC5. I want to go all the way back to the beginning, because unless I'm missing it, there was a line of dialogue. No. That's strange. I could have swore there was. Obviously, Morrison was smoking in that shot. He had the lighter. Begrudgingly picks up the phone. Devil May Cry, you know, the usual. Which is interesting because he usually asks for the password, and he doesn't this time. But he said he's got a gig, that's cash up front. Whether he's actually talking about what's happening here, or maybe something else to get Dante back into the swing of things, I don't know. But a mission like this obviously requires cash up front, because it's a pretty big undertaking. And then we just get straight into the combat. So we have what I believe is probably the Demon Tree, sort of the entrance to hell itself, potentially. We see Dante here with the Rebellion. Standard combo. Yep. And we see a trick. So we see a trick 2 here. So indicating that the Trickster style is obviously back. But, you know, Dante does the standard 3-hit combo for the Rebellion. It looks like he delays that second hit a little bit. 2 and then 3. Yeah, slight delay. The music here is absolutely terrible, like really terrible. You guys have probably seen the debacle with the music, and it wasn't good. So he tricks 2, and then there's a Helmbreaker. Gameplay's looking kind of slow here, but obviously I'm assuming these aren't like, this isn't a combo video, you know. This is just meant to show off. He's got the pause combo back, the, I believe, 5-hit combo. Million stab makes a return here. Different effects, obviously, but it locks the enemy in place. Doesn't push him away like DMC1. But there's some dialogue here that I'm missing, so... Cash up front. Cash up front, this I like, obviously. Because, you know, considering Dante's a man who's heavily indebted to everybody, he needs that money. And he goes, why don't you turn it on, and the toilets need flushing. Again, sort of back to what I said before, sort of implying that they were speaking in the dark. So obviously Morrison enters, I'm assuming, looking for Dante, and Dante's just chilling there in the dark. And then I'm assuming that's when the lights come on. Who he's talking to, I'm not sure. Right, so let's discuss this. We seem to have Gauntlets back, which is a given, considering we've had Gauntlets in almost every single game, bar DMC2. People suggesting that it looks like Ifrit. I can see where that's coming from, kind of, because obviously it's a fire Gauntlets. That's the first thing you think of. But I'm not sure at this point. There's been murmurings of it being another weapon, but we're unsure for now. I'd like to make a note though that there's horns on his shoulders at the moment, but there'll be times where he doesn't have horns, kind of implying that there's sort of different stances. But you can tell it's not Ifrit because, well, Ifrit had, you know, dragon mouths for hands essentially, but does a rising uppercut here. That dodging looks slick though. Ooh, and then just straight into the leg combos. Let's go back there a second. Yeah, so he has no horns here and he's using his legs, potentially implying there's different stances. Makes sense. We get into a cutscene here. Obviously he's all clean shaven, not looking like a hobo man anymore. Using ebony and ivory, more trick 2s and more helm breakers. Interestingly enough, he's got the similar thing where there's slowdown on the last hit. And it looks like he jumped through a portal to get down here. And then here we get our first look at Lady and Nico interacting with Dante here. So obviously Lady's looking, she's got an updated look, makes sense, looking slightly older, slightly more mature, obviously keeping with a realistic design. Nico giving that side eye in the background. Got Dante here, a nice close-up look at the rebellion with the horns seemingly coming out of its eyes, which is interesting. It's a different design obviously. First come, first serve on the targets, right? And that we see her with the Sparta sword. It also has an updated design. Looks sick, might I add. You can see right here the Force Edge, which is obviously what the Sparta sword is based off of. That's what it transforms into. You've got the red gem that was always there. The blade isn't as massive and as exaggerated as it once was. Seemingly more realistic here. And we've got also this like ribcage sort of things just popping out the side, which weren't there before, but hey, it's a welcome design. They've updated it obviously as they have with everything else. Music to my ears, hurry up Dante, she says. So these guys are all off to go on this supposed job, which, you know, probably isn't going to go well. In fact, no, it's not going to go well, I don't think. This isn't endgame. I'm fairly certain it's not endgame. They wouldn't show endgame sort of stuff in a trailer, because that's just spoilers, considering this game's like, what, 6 months off? She's got the Kalina Ann, obviously, and we see, so, player characters and NPCs here. We see them. I'm not sure if this is potentially co-op, and I'm going to get into that in a bit at the end of this, because there's some pretty big things happening. Or I don't know if this is just you fighting with a player-controlled character. So we see some potentially twosome time here. The camera's just behind Dante at this point, more kind of cinematic. We see Trish here looking interesting with, I believe that's the Sparta sword on her back, but it looks weird from that angle. And then let's move back a bit. So we see Dante shooting, and then it goes OU. So we get Nico interacting with Dante here, and the infamous Dante. She talks about how her grandmother is Nell Goldstein. Goes on to say that she's the one that made all his awesome weapons. So that there's a direct acknowledgement to that, which is cool. We see Nero here looking pretty pissed off, just coming out the side of the van. And then obviously Dante whips out his guns and he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember Nell." And he takes a look at them. Now that's interesting, because there should be an inscription. There should be an inscription on the guns that says, let me get a picture up for reference here in my DMC folder. There should be an inscription on the side that says, for Tony Redgrave, by .5 caliber artist or whatever, something like that. Let me see if I can get this, see if I can find this. Yeah, it should be on the inside here, which is weird. So it should be on the inside of Ebony and on the inside of Ivory. You can barely see it here. Apologies, not a good picture, but it's there for sure. So we can barely see. Like, the inscription is gone, which is weird, like really weird. And it wasn't on the outside there, so that little inscription on the guns has been retconned. It's pretty weird, because that's been a staple of them. We can't see it on the back of the gun either, so that omission is fairly weird. Dante hasn't shaved here, so this is before essentially we see him, or maybe after we've seen him in like the trailer here. The chronology is sort of all over the place. We see the return of the shotgun. There's a dodge roll there. Obviously the shotgun's going to return. Again, a staple of the DMC series is the inclusion of a shotgun. We see the gunstinger. We see more gunslinger moves here. That's cool. And then we get the return of the Mega Scarecrows from DMC4. Dante's obviously running away from it. It's got an updated design. And he begins to shave on the Mega Scarecrow. It could also be the shield wielding enemies from DMC3, but I highly doubt it. It's more likely to be the Mega Scarecrow, because they have an attack just like that. We see a close-up of Dante here. And he says, "Guess I get to see it with my own eyes." I'm assuming this is potentially the demon tree. I mean, they're in the demon tree, or they're in hell at the moment. So it's kind of interesting to try and figure out what exactly he's talking about. But it's probably something big. If he's making a comment like that on it. Cuts to black. And then it's like, "Dante, I'm coming too." I'd like to note the little skull emblem on here. That's a design choice that was in DMC4's concept art, but was cut out. So the fact that they're bringing it back in is interesting. We don't see Rebellion on his back here, which is weird, because you'd think he'd have it, especially considering Nero's got the Red Queen on him. And he's like, "I'm gonna go too." And we seem to be in a warehouse of some sorts, probably somewhere in the city. He's doing his taunt here. And he's got the Helter Skelter arm, it looks like. No, that was the Rawhide, sorry. We get the Rainbow taunt back. We see the Tomboy work on the Red Queen here. And we get a little bit of gameplay on how this works with the sword. As you can see, Max Exceed, he's two-handing it. He's going wild with it, essentially. And I believe these are blades or assaults. They've had their design revamped. They're like hulking monsters now. They're crazy. It makes sense. Just big, steely beasts. But it does look pretty cool. And then we see some sort of discord between Nero and Dante here, with Nero trying to say, you know, I've got all the power I need right here. And he points to his arm. I'm assuming this is directly after Nero stops Dante and is like, I'm coming too. Dante's probably like, you should probably sit this one out. And he's just like, nah, fuck it. And like, I got this shit here. I'm like, come on. We see more Tomboy. We saw some of that at PAX West. We see that. We see Nero seemingly square up. And then we see Nico potentially trying to talk Nero out of doing something. They seem to be somewhere in the city. He's staring off into something. The glow seems to like make it look like there's a massive fire or something. But she says, you know, hey, tough guy. You know, that arm will keep, that something will keep them, but not for long. I couldn't hear exactly what. Let's go back. That'll keep him, but not for long. Soldier Boy, obviously referring to the crew cut character we saw in the reveal trailer. He said the city's gone to hell and back, and then she goes on to say it's not just the city, it's everywhere, implying that this is a worldwide invasion. So things, you know, things are ramping up pretty quickly here. Taken over by the underworld, not just here but everywhere. We saw some more rawhide gameplay there from Nero. Dante's on this bike of his that we saw, obviously, reveal trailer and the Gamescom trailer. Very slow weapon, but it does transform, as we see, and it's pretty cool. And so something breaks here. Something was thrown at Dante, but I'm not exactly sure what. We get a little close up here. Okay, so that was a different, that was like a match cut. Those were definitely two different scenes, because on one scene he had the Spada, and then what did he have? What did he cut with here? Oh no, so that's the exact same scene. So something was thrown at Dante here. It looks like a motorcycle. Doesn't seem to be the same one he rode on though. And then we get this character. Now this character, a lot of people are saying it's an upgraded and revamped Alistair, which is very plausible given the fact that we've got the purpley blue lightning, we've got the demonic design here from kind of resembles the Alistair we see in Beautiful Joe, but there's again some discord here because it may actually be the bike. People are suggesting that, you know, the horns that we have on this blade and sort of these wings are very reminiscent to the bike's design. Then again, at the same time, there was also that other boss that we saw in the Gamescom trailer, which I feel resembled the bike more. So I'm going for this being a revamped and reintroduced Alistair, which, if true, is going to be insane. And we see the boss just teleport here, and it's a crazy looking boss, sort of the bosses we're kind of used to. But that was a parry right there. That was a jump that was very reminiscent of the jump we got in like the DMC 4 teaser, like TGS teaser in 2005. But we see here some sins, sin scissors. Further solidifying the fact that they're not bosses, they're actual like normal enemies you encounter, which is pretty cool. You had Dante Devil Trigger there, which is interesting. Some more Devil Trigger. Trick up. I think that was a trick up. I don't think that was just a trick too. Fighting what looks to be like again an assault or a blade. They're in an interesting area. I think still in the tree somewhere, or still in hell. Helmbreaker, we got that Devil Triggered Stinger. Here we go. This reminds me more of the hell we saw in DMC1, like the organic beast sort of thing. But then again, it looks very reminiscent to the tree and the aesthetic that they've been going for there. But he takes it out with one hit, almost like a, what would you call it? Almost like a critical hit from DMC1. But he goes and says, "This is my gig." This is Dante voicing over. We get close-ups of Lady and Trish. They're both lounging around in the office, it looks like. She's just straight up lying on the desk. Again, new designs. Obviously, they're all based off of real actors now. So, you know, they've got more realistic proportions. You know, they're not looking like blow-up dolls and whatnot. So, you know, he said, "This is my gig, leave Nero out of this." And then we get a close-up of Nero just being, having the life squeezed out of him and screaming. Close-up of Dante just saying jackpot. Again, back in this hellscape. We don't know what's going on, though. Cut to black. And we see the wings sort of kind of grow almost into that shape. And we get the title drop. Yeah, as they sort of go red. Interesting. We get a voiceover of Morrison like, "Oh, you know, let's meet your new client." And then we get a cut into V. And we essentially get a reveal of what he is, what he looks like. And this whole stinger at the end of like the trailer kind of like suggests or implies to me that he's not really a protagonist. He may be an antagonist at this point, because he looks very mysterious. It doesn't look like he's fighting for the good guys. But he's got the book, and the book just has a big old V on it, which is why he's just titled The Mysterious V. And then he goes and just speaks his, I don't know what that is. I'm not exactly sure. Just a book of poetry. Who knows? A book to summon demons. We don't know. But and so it is written. And we get a close up, see what he looks like. He's in the city here. I'd imagine this is somewhere just before he's supposed to be meeting, or just after he's meeting Nero. Because obviously, if you didn't know, after the Goliath boss fight, that we saw in the Gamescom demo. There's a cutscene that has essentially been just cut out and removed, and it's supposed to be those two meeting, Nero and V meeting, and you sort of get an inkling of this, you know, just with the cutscene just before the Goliath boss fight, where he's like, "Oh, you know, I'm looking for so and so, who happens to be V." But yeah, you don't get a good vibe from him. Cut to black, March 8th, 2019. Pretty crazy, right? And then we got, hey, a new arm. Bam, we get the Buster arm. So let's delve into this nonsense, which is a bit annoying here. So, Deluxe Edition. This image is the front of the cover art, or the key art that we see. Cool, whatever. We've seen all these characters now, what they look like. We can't exactly see what they're walking away from. You see Nico in the background there. Let's discuss the Deluxe Edition. Right, 4 new arms. Buster arm, which is a crossover with Mega Man and DMC. Obviously, they're both Capcom properties, so cool, whatever, it's dope. I'll show you some gameplay of this in a second. We get, I'm unsure what this is. That's a pasta arm, and that's a rub arm. We're gonna get into these more in a bit, but let's talk about this. So, live action cutscenes in the Deluxe Edition. That's gonna be hilarious. I don't think this will translate very well into live action. You had that live action nonsense for DMC4, and that wasn't the best. That really wasn't the best. Battle music. This is hype. This is hype as hell. 12 tracks from Devil May Cry 1 to Devil May Cry 4. And there's actually a breakdown of what tracks they include. I'll get into that in a second, but that's interesting. That's cool. Alternative star rank announcers and title calls. Cool. Why is that limited only to the Deluxe Edition, though? You know, it's weird. Maybe, hopefully, it'll be a DLC. And then we got the Cavalier R. and this is a red skin for the bike. This is this has to be a callback to Red Eye from the anime. It just has to be. It's very reminiscent of it. Cavalier R. There's not really a anything associated with that name. So hey, I mean, but then again, it says weapon here. It doesn't say weapon skin. It says weapon, which kind of worrying if they're limiting not only breakers but weapons to like a deluxe edition of the game. It's weird, you know. Are these going to be added in as DLC? You know, the whole thing is that this is supposed to be a complete package. So why the hell is this going to be? Why is this like this? Why do you have to buy the deluxe edition just to get access to this stuff? It doesn't make sense. And you know, you've got people who I believe were covering an interview a couple months back, or you know, a couple weeks back, where they're like, oh, you know, we're not going to discuss DLC at this time. People took that to mean, oh, you know, there's not going to be any DLC, but no, all they said was, we're not talking about it at this time. And now you know why, because we got stuff like this. Right, that's done and out of the way. Let's get on to some things. Let's get on to some more things here. So, pre-order DMC5 if you want to get these alternate color schemes and costumes. So, obviously for Dante here, we've got a throwback to DMC DevilNeverCry, the reboot, with the color scheme, the black hair, the white shirt, the black coat. Cool, whatever. Again, we've got Nero's alt costume here. He's just got a white outfit. I'm not really feeling it. I mean, it looks alright. We've got Trish here, who... interesting. Not only have they changed her the color of her costume, but they've changed her skin tone as well. I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to be. You've got a lady here with a... what do you call it? A black... sort of biker outfit. She's got her glasses on instead of off as well. And then it goes on to state here, I'm not exactly sure. This is kind of reminiscent of the Diesel outfit that Dante had in DMC2, but I'm not sure. But this is interesting because it's like 5 alternative color costumes. Are these, like, obviously these two are for gameplay, but like, we don't play as any of these characters as far as we know. Everyone thinks V's this third playable character, but it could be Lady, could be Trish, could be Virgil. So that's interesting that we get this. Obviously, that's going to show up like this in cutscenes probably, and in-game as we see them as NPCs or playable characters. Let's move on here. So we get a description of the Deluxe Edition. So I just want to say that this is available for pre-order now. But the reason I want to get into this is because there's some very interesting stuff here. So we get names. So you get a reskin of the Gerber arm. Cool. Mega Busters from the Mega Man crossover. The Pasta Breaker's the one with the fork, and the Sweet Surrender is the other arm. But yeah, we're gonna dive more into those in a second. Here's what I want to discuss. It says here, network players 2 to 3. So there's going to be some sort of online play here, 100%. It's been confirmed here. And if we go over to the Xbox One, it again states online multiplayer, online co-op. So co-op is in somehow, somewhere, we don't know. It's not going to be just like some leaderboard sort of stuff that we usually have. No, this is going to be co-op. If so, you know, that's like, provided these aren't mislabeled, this is an insane find. Just the potential for how the gameplay is going to just sprawl out. Crazy. You're going to have tag team combos. Sky's the limit with this stuff. Insane. Completely insane. Let's just close those. What else did I want to talk about? So I want to just get this structured properly, see if I can find it. Here we go. Right. Moving back on to the DLC. So these are going to be the tracks that we get for from the Deluxe Edition. There's going to be 12 tracks, obviously 3 from each game. Makes sense, right? So DMC1, they have a great, and I mean great selection. So they've got Lock and Load, Standard, Public Enemy, and then Ultraviolet. You know, these are just some of the most iconic tracks from this game. When you think Devil May Cry 1, this is what you think of. DMC2, not really well known. The tracks aren't really well known. I mean, the tracks are still good. They're still decent. I don't think they're like levels of 1, but they're better than like the shit that they tried to pump out for Dante in 5. So yeah. Then move on to 3. Pretty good selection here. We've got Battle 1, the battle theme. Hey, I'm all for it. You've got the Virgil boss battle theme. Even better, right? Even better. And then obviously you've got the titular Devils Never Cry. I mean, that's to be expected. You know, you can't not have that. Then the time has come. Standard, you know. Lock and Load, Blackened Angel mix. Sworn Through Swords. I know Sworn, like this is a for 3, like these, just in general, everything here is just great. The fact that you can change the battle tracks to these is fantastic. Now, what's interesting though is these are for the 3 playable characters, right? So obviously Dante's themes are going to be for Dante. Actually, you know what? No, that's probably one of a stupid thing to talk about. I'm assuming all of these can be attributed to all the playable characters. Maybe you can do them separately, or potentially, who knows? But this is great news. I'm hoping this is potentially unlockable in the base game. I don't think it's going to be though. I think this is on Deluxe Edition only, and if so, sucks ass. But what can you do about it? Right, so now I want to talk about these arms, right? I want to talk about these DLC arms. So we get the Pasta Breaker here. Shout out to Wero64 for having this up on Twitter. Devil Breaker that makes pasta extra easy to eat. Created by Nico for Clumsy Nero from Helter Skelter and Punchline parts. The revolving fork on the end is neat, but it's not particularly useful in battle. Maybe this is just like a gag arm. Maybe it's super OP and powerful. I mean, he's like, this is an arm made out of cutlery, dude. Made out of cutlery. It's hilarious. So there's that. And then we have the Sweet Surrender arm. This is hilarious. This is really hilarious. So a Devil Breaker created by Nico to relieve Kyrie's tension. Nero is too rough to do the job without hurting Kyrie, so this device is made of soft materials. Its vibration feature is especially effective at alleviating, and that goes on to say shoulder and hip pain. Yeah, I'm sure that he uses it to give Kyrie a massage and not for all sorts of explicit things, I'm sure that R34 has now been flooded with things like this, but this whole thing has always been a joke. Nico's going to create him an arm to revamp his sex life, and what do you know? Capcom have gone and just put it in. Shame on you, Itsuno and Matt. Shame on you. And now we're just gonna get into just some of the promotional images that we've got for the game so far. So we've got Dante here. People were sort of worried about his look, but he, now that we have up close and high res shots, he looks perfectly fine. We've got Lady here who, again, has aged, which makes sense, but she looks very similar. You can tell exactly who this character is without her having to be introduced. The two-tone eyes thing is still there. They're heterochromatic eyes. They've just been toned down slightly to be more realistic, which makes sense. She's got goggles though, so maybe she's out there riding bicycles along with Dante too. Who knows? Who knows? Then we've got V here. V with his goddamn cane, or Adam Driver or Kylo Ren as people like to call him. Again, this dude is just looking villainous. He's not. He's on that key art, but I'm not sure whether or not he's going to be that third character that's going to be playable. He's looking spooky. Again, we've got Nico giving Lady the side eye here. Maybe they don't get along, who knows. And then we've got the close-up of Trish. So people complaining about her because she's more realistically proportioned, and you know, she's got a normal face. She's got a face based off an actor. You know, I'm not sure. Maybe that's supposed to be Trish there. That's hung up on the wall as sort of a, what do you call it? As sort of a, you know, breaking the fourth wall sort of thing. I'm not sure, because obviously, you know, you had Dante 4 reading, you know, a magazine about guns which featured Ebony and Ivory in it, which is interesting. But she looks fine. Again, you know exactly who this character is without her having to be introduced. She's still got the whole lightning motif. We've got a map here, but we can't distinguish if there's anything actually that's been outlined. In fact, over here in that region of the world, in the eastern hemisphere of the world, you see something that's been outlined in red. And then over here, that looks like a few things have been pinned in. I'm not sure, but hey, if you guys take a look, tell me what you find. What is this? Oh, that's right. So we have a theme, a downloadable theme for DMC5 that you get once you pre-order. So I'm just gonna go through here and give you guys a look. It's a pretty cool theme. You know, that's just giving you a cool look, but it's got a very funny, like, chill sort of remix of Devil Trigger, which is interesting. Yeah, it's very weird, but you know, it's very cool. Sucks that it's limited to pre-order only, because maybe you want to get the physical edition, but you don't get the goddamn theme. So here we get a look at this big old beast, who I still think is Alistair. And you've got Dante here using the Sparta sword, and we see more here. It looks like this is made up of sort of a spine or a vertebra, this section, but again, it's the Sparta sword. It's iconic. You can tell what it is by looking at it. The design has been revamped to be more realistic, and you're fighting against this beast here. Damn, this is a pretty high-res picture. He's got the purple eyes. He's got the horns. He's got this sort of cowl going over his shoulders. We can't exactly see, where is his weapon? Behind him, right? Because this is when he's just been parried, it looks like, or potentially about to hit you with an uppercut of an attack. But moving on from that, we have another arm, and this is a banana arm. Capcom seem to be going all out with this. It kind of sucks that if this is like limited to certain editions of the game, you can own the game, but you'll never have 100% of the things released for it. Unless, which I'm hoping Capcom makes them unlockable in the game somehow, or purchasable for DLC, which, as soon as the breakers were announced, people immediately were like, yeah, just wait till they nickel and dime you with this shit. But again, we don't know, so keep the hope alive, keep the hope alive. But it goes to show that this is why Matt was talking about breakers. When he was talking about breakers, he was referring to them as the standard, 8 standard ones, because you have more. You have some ones which are, you know, joke ones. Going over onto Reset Era, shout out to LHK, big member of the Reset Era Discord. We get a look at one of Sparta's sort of modes. Maybe Dante's like prepping to do a round trip here. I'm not sure. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But because that's obviously in DMC 1, that's what it looked like. Even in DMC 4 Special Edition, that's what it looked like when you were going to do a round trip. It sort of extended to be like that. But looking at this is a very sickly and grotesque design here. This looks just ugh. So obviously we know Sparta's an organic sword that transforms, and the way it transformed in 1 and even in 4 was pretty cool. I mean, it was connected mainly by bone. This seems to be mainly connected by like flesh and muscle. I'm not sure if it can still extend like massively. But hey, it looks dope. It does. I'm not gonna lie. Still looks pretty cool. We can't exactly see what Dante's fighting though. He seems to be in potentially some sort of cemetery. These seem to be tombs. They're far into the earth here, as you can see. They're in some sort of valley or canyon. But let's get on to the whole Buster Arm thing. So I'm just gonna mute that because it's, you know what it is. It's just the Buster Arm. Why is it being this slow? Come on, stop being so stupid. You know, I'll put the quality down because it's not anything great. So we get him just loading in. They've obviously, it even says here, camera angles have been altered for promotional purposes. It's just a Buster Arm. You just get to shoot. Will this thing be overpowered? We're uncertain. But hey, it's cool. It's a cool crossover. But moving on from that, there's a few more things that I actually want to get into, because there's a few more things that they've shown. I'll leave a link down to this thread as well if you want to read it in your own time. But because there is a live sort of thing going on at the moment, but it's not being streamed. But again, shout out to people that have been translating and whatnot non-stop. So the Xbox, you get the Buster Arm immediately. We get the theme. Steam gets a wallpaper when you pre-order. This is what I wanted to get into. So this is the big move for the Buster Arm. It's just a triple slam. Fairly boring if you ask me. It just reminds me of like a DT'd slam. I'm assuming that it's going to be sort of context sensitive. There's going to be different animations for different enemies. It's funny how Nero just tanked through that hit there. Makes little to no sense. You'll see it here. And he doesn't even flinch. See? Bang. Maybe he's got God mode activated. But this is what I wanted to sort of discuss as well. This looks insane. This is like a potential distorted real impact here. He just charges this shit up like it's a goddamn cannon and then just bang. Just up and over in this training mode. Crazy, right? So yeah, what do you guys think about this? I think it's fairly interesting what we got. We didn't get a lot. Sorry, I mean I say we didn't get a lot. We did get quite a lot, but in terms of like gameplay and whatnot, in terms of like going in depth as to how Dante plays, not a lot. I must say, not a lot. Let me see here. Was it Beautiful Joe? Beautiful Joe Alistair. See if there's some sort of resemblance here. Yeah. So just looking at Alistair here, comparing these two, obviously they're not similar, because this is obviously like a chibi or whatever you want to call it, anime-esque design. But hey, the horns, the purple motif, the big old shoulder pads, the wings. Does he have a tail? I can't quite see if he has. I don't think he has a tail. But then the horns, and the eyes that glow as well. You know, I can totally see this being Alistair. I'm trying to figure out, is there any latest word on what those big fiery gauntlets are? Let me see. DMC5 Info might have some stuff, because I know they're always... Right, so yeah, shout out to DMC5 Info. Apparently, it's a pre-order bonus for Capcom Japan. Oh, it's a skin. That's a skin for Helter Skelter. Fair enough. Gerber arm. Apparently, maybe it's just got a stronger finish, so it doesn't break. You can tell it's different because it's got a different color to its attacks. I'm trying to figure out though. So if we head on over to the official DMC5 channel here, this is going to be a long video. This is going to be a long video, definitely. Okay, we got this animation of this playing. This always happens. Yo, like, come on. Really? Can I not just, like, skip this? Why does this do this every time? I just want to get to your website. Come on, Capcom, don't do me like this. Available for pre-order. I want to see if we can get a name for the weapons. That's all I want. I just want to see if we can get a name for the weapons. That's it. Yep, strongest demon slayer. The proprietor of DevilNeverCry and the devil. Okay, is there anything interesting? At the behest of a client, yeah. It's funny that it's at the behest of a client. The whole world has been, you know, the whole world has been taken over. Alright, so that is the Coyote A. Or, you know, Coyote A, whatever you guys like to call it. Because obviously it's different. Right, so this isn't different. I knew it. It is Balrog, right. And there is 2 modes. So kick mode, which is what we saw, and then there's blow mode, which, you know, you get the nimble jabs, punches, uppercuts. Interesting that it says here, brimming with the sealed power of the king of the fire hell. So we know that Belial or Belial from DMC4 was the conqueror of the fire hell. So I'm not sure who Balrog is. Right, so this is the Cavalier. So that the bike is named the Cavalier. And I'm assuming the Cavalier R in the Deluxe Edition is just a skin. I hope. Obviously the Sparta's sword. Yep, it's nice that they refer directly to Mundus here, or Mundus, sorry. The incredible power dwelling within allows this blade to choose its own user. Damn. Could you imagine if the Sparta sword disowns Dante? That shit would be crazy. Yep, everybody knows about the Devil Trigger. So Dante does get a Devil Trigger gauge and gets Devil Trigger. That's been confirmed. Recovers vitality. Interesting. How you use the power is up to you. Cool. Shout out to this just being fucking nothing. Oh god, the controversy of it. Oh no, don't do that. Just click. We'll go through the characters here one by one and we'll see if there's anything interesting. Let's close all of these though. Anything about Lady, does it say? Met during an incident that passed. After many twists and turns, she joined him. Yep. Businesswoman through and through. She can be observed forcing unprofitable job onto others and taking a finder's fee for her trouble. Damn. So she's a con artist now, is she? Yeah, interesting choice of outfit. Don't know why those just slits are there, but cool. But it's interesting that the website has been fully updated. We get a decent look at Trish. Jesus Christ, does that? I'll have to turn this here for a second. What exactly does that say? Nothing, because I can't read it, because that's a terrible angle. Damn you, Trish. Damn you. But she's got the same bra corset thing or whatever from 4. Fiendish femme fatale. The alluring demon resembling Dante's mother Eva in appearance. Once an enemy, yep, changed ways, yep. He filled her dark soul, filled her dark soul with light. I was going to say something a lot worse there, a lot worse. But thankfully I didn't. Back with the leather trousers though, as usual. Anything new about Nico though? There's nothing really. Just that she created that her grandmother was Nell. We do get a close up of her tattoos though. Gunsmithing. Apparently, she likes guns. No doubt. Present. Oh, okay. Well, we know that the logo's a present. But I thought the whole van was a present for a second. I've been like, wow. But I'm fairly certain there's nothing new for Nero though. So it looks like we've covered pretty much everything we can. Having lost his demonic arm, they have to explicitly say the Devil Bringer. Yeah, as if we don't know. Yep, we know about the Red Queen. We know about the Blue Rose, the piercing coaxial hand cannon. Shout out to the people who didn't think it was a damn hand cannon. Clearly it was. High performance, yep. Anything new? Anything about a Devil Trigger? Anything? No. For a second there I got happy because it said Devil Trigger. I'm like, oh shit. But nope. So that's that done. We know about the collaboration with Mega Man. Boasts over 16 million. We know, oh, he's back on the battlefield, sort of putting everything behind, putting all that reboot stuff behind us. The contents and specifications may change. Oh, that's great. Yeah, so yeah, let me select my product lineup, son. Platform. Wait, what? Package. It says package. Interesting. So you get 100,000 red orbs for some reason. I'm not sure why. Right, so you can just buy the physical edition, which okay. So I'm just definitely gonna put in a. I'll put in a pre-order for that up on Amazon. Oh, but then you can't trust Amazon, can you? Because their shit is just. Well, they fucked up with a lot of people's Spider-Man copies, so I think I'm just gonna go pre-order a physical edition from my local store. But it seems like that's gonna be it for now. There doesn't seem to be a lot more. I think I've covered everything there is to cover. Again, check out the DMC5 Info Twitter account because they seem to have quite a lot of stuff. Okay, well they've got. Interesting. So it says upgraded motorcycle weapon. God damn it. I wonder what the pricing for this stuff is as well. Let's head off over to Amazon here, and let's on second thought, let's head on Amazon in incognito so that you guys can't see all my details. La da 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 da. DevilNeverCry 5. Let's see. No, so that's not up. That's definitely not up on Amazon. Well, what the fuck is the point of that? Let's head on over to. Okay, you know what? I'll check this up in my own time. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. It has been me, DevilNeverCry. And yeah, this is this. What do you guys think? Let me know. I'll have a reaction to the trailer up soon. I decided to record it, obviously. But I thought I'd put this out first because this is probably what you guys want to see more than just some jacked and tan as fuck dude getting hype over a video game. So yeah, it's been me. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.